Kash, I'm excited to sit down with you finally.
Yeah, thanks so much for making time.
Yeah, no, there's so much going on and there's so much that you're involved with. I want to start with the terror attack that we saw here just before Thanksgiving in D.C. in front of the White House, where obviously one service member lost her life. There's another one who was injured.
Absolutely. It's, of course, just one of the worst tragedies you can encounter when service members are shot and killed. You know, I was here in D.C. on duty all week, so I went to the crime scene. I went to the hospital to visit with the members of our National Guard. And it's a whole interagency process when something like this happens. We're on the scene with DHS and Secret Service and DOJ. Because what you want to do is hold the person or people accountable and make sure that, especially for the families, you provide them some closure. And so we do know a few things, some of which you said. The individual was in this country because not only of the disastrous Afghan withdrawal by the prior administration, but also because they selected intentionally to not vet a single one of these people. Thousands and thousands and thousands of people. That's a broader problem that we're tackling now. Well, the vetting is taken up largely by DHS, and so we have to work in conjunction with Secretary Noem and her team, who've been wonderful, to make sure we identify absolutely everybody associated with this disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan and then the flooding into our country of people who are never looked at. So what we do is we take all of those individuals and triage them through all of our databases and see, are there any name check issues? Are there any identifiers that lead to people that are already in custody or that we're already investigating? And so the FBI's focus point is on that, on protecting and preventing future criminal acts and future acts of terrorism, while we work with our partners at DHS to have them give us the information that says, hey, we need to go back collectively and do more vetting on this person, this person, this person. We took a similar approach with this investigation as the one we just talked about. We said, look, the public has questions. Let's go look at everything again, just in case. And so we've been presenting the administration with our findings over the course of the last few months, even 6-8 months now. And the president has been fully satisfied with our findings because this is what we did. We got into every single device that was seized that he owned, read every email, read every contact, read every social media posting he had. And we did a full-blown investigation into, are you, Thomas Crooks, in touch with anyone overseas, and did you have information as to motive or working with others on this? That was the extent and depth of our research, and that's why we are able to today say, based on what we have in our holdings in our investigation, that led us to the conclusion we led to. But we've also left it in a pending and active status. That means if some other information were to come to light in the future, well, we will look at that. That's why we never shut it off. Unlike other administrations, the prior one, they just said, we're done. Nothing to see here.
Welcome back, guys. You know, when I watched this interview with Kash Patel, something immediately catch my attention. Not just what he said, but how directly he said it. Unusually, officials speak in circles, but here he came out swinging. And honestly, the entire conversation raises some very serious questions about security, leadership, and the way things are being handled behind the scenes. So let's break it down the way any normal American watching this would feel, because this wasn't just another political interview. This felt like a wake-up call. Right from the start, Patel talks about the terror attack that happened in Washington, D.C. right before Thanksgiving. A service member lost his life, another one was injured, and according to Patel, the attacker was someone who came into the United States after the Afghanistan withdrawal. Now, that part hits different because the Afghanistan withdrawal is still something people in his country argue about. Patel says thousands of people were brought in without proper vetting, and if that is true, it's honestly terrifying. Because when we talk about national security, the number one expectation every American has is simple: keep dangerous individuals out of this country. That's basic, that's not Republican or Democrat, it's common sense. Patel explains that the FBI is now trying to map out the entire network around this attacker. They are cracking devices, doing interviews, trying to see if this person was connected to anyone else. And I think that's where a lot of viewers start feeling frustrated, because it almost sounds like the system reacts after something goes wrong instead of preventing things from happening in the first place. When Patel says the person came in because the waiting blueprint wasn't followed, it makes you wonder, why not? Why would any administration, Biden or Trump or anyone, ignore the one thing that could prevent a terror threat? Then the conversation shifts toward migrant vetting in general. Patel makes it clear people entering the US, especially from high risk countries, must go through a strict vetting process, and he explains how DHS and the FBI use databases to identify red flags, connections to investigations or anything suspicious. That part makes sense. That's exactly what people want to hear. But then he drops a really heavy claim. He says the Biden administration threw out the Trump era blueprint for vetting. That's a big statement. Whether you agree or not, it raises a serious point. If there was a working system in place, why place it without having something stronger ready to go? He even agrees with the idea of pausing certain immigration until things are under control. Now, that's a sentence that would create headlines and all by itself. Because usually, when someone from a federal agency talks about pausing immigration, it becomes a huge political debate. But in the context he is speaking, he frames it as a matter of safety. And honestly, when you look at the number of recent incidents involving people who entered the country without proper checks, it's not an unreasonable concern. Americans want compassion, but they also want safety. It's not one of the other, it has to be both. Then the interview moves to Thomas Crooks, the guy who attempted the assassination in Butler, Pennsylvania. Patel explains that the FBI investigated everything: devices, emails, social media contacts, everything he had ever searched or interacted with. And the conclusion, they believe he acted alone. But Patel adds something important: the investigation stays open in case new information comes in. That's actually reassuring because it shows they are not closing the book prematurely. But what really stood out to me is when Patel said there was a major interagency failure by the prior administration when it came to protecting the president's team. He says the Secret Security and other agencies simply did not have the resources they needed. And if you think about that for a second, it's shocking. Because one of the most protected individuals on earth should never be lacking security resources. This isn't a local event, it's the President of the United States. And if we can't guarantee his safety, what does that say about the safety of everyday Americans? Throughout this whole interview, Patel keeps coming back to one theme: systems failing because of leadership decisions. Whether it's vetting migrants, preventing terror attacks, or protecting the president, he paints a picture where problems keep happening because the people in charge are not following essential procedures. And that's something every American should care about, not for political reasons, but for our personal security. One thing I found interesting is how claim he stays while talking about serious failures. He doesn't raise his voice, doesn't exaggerate, he just keeps laying out facts as he sees them. And sometimes that's even more impactful than emotional talking. Because when someone calmly says this could have been prevented, it hits harder. It makes you stop and think about the real cost of mistakes. The most powerful moment for me was when he talked about the need to take back control of the vetting process. It's almost like He's saying the system can work, but the people running it need to let law enforcement do their job. And that's something a lot of viewers will agree with, regardless of political side. Everyone wants a system that protects the country. Everyone wants agencies to work together instead of pointing fingers after something goes wrong. And everyone wants leadership that prioritize national security over political appearance. By the time the interview ends, one feeling becomes very clear. These issues are not far away problems. They are not government problems. They affect real people, real families, real communications. And when failures happen at the top, everyday Americans feel the impact first. At the end of the day, whether you agree with Patel or not, one thing is undeniable. The safety of this country should never depend on political decisions. And if this interview tells us anything, it's that America needs leaders who treat national security like a responsibility, not a debate. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.